following is a paid program. The opinions expressed are not necessarily those of WNBU and Interbanks Media. Welcome to All Things Money with David Blain, a thoughtful and revealing discussion of actionable ideas and effective strategies to help you through the complex world of investing, taxes, and real estate. Now, with All Things Money, here's David Blain.
Hello and welcome to All Things Money. I'm your host, David Blain. We thank you for joining us today on 94.1 FM, WNBU, as well as cable TV 10 in New Bern. We also have copies of the show on a website. You may be watching over the internet on dlblain.com. We welcome input from our viewers and listeners, so if you have any comments or questions on the show, please feel free to give us a call. Our number is 252-633-0107. Our email is allthingsmoney@dlblain.com. And of course, you can go to our website at dlblain.com and click on the Contact Us button, and you can get in touch with us that way as well. Well, last week I told the teaser story of an attorney in Florida that was disbarred for trying to sell annuities to an elderly client, and we ran out of time, so I didn't have a chance to go through that full story, so I want to start off with that. I'm going to talk a little bit about $14 billion in overpaid unemployment benefits. Then we're going to look at some of the pitfalls people have going into retirement. So, got a great show lined up for you today. Thanks for joining us. The first story here, in Florida Bar versus Doherty, the Florida Supreme Court disbarred an attorney for attempting to sell annuities to an elderly client without notifying the client in writing that the attorney would receive a commission in the transaction. Yes, for those of you who don't know, if you buy an annuity, the person selling it to you is receiving a commission. Good, bad, indifferent, I don't know, but you as the consumer need to know that, and you need to know that that person is being paid a commission. Whenever you're dealing with a service provider, you should know how much you're paying, what you're paying, and what you're getting for that. And that's the problem, I think, with a lot of the sales of financial products that go on. Of course, our firm is a fee-only firm where people pay us a fee that they know up front what it's going to be, and they know as part of our contract what services they're going to get exactly laid out. So anyway, this attorney provided financial planning and investment services, also was licensed to sell annuities. And he received a 7% commission that was applied to a debt that Doherty owed to the annuity provider. Now, sometimes if a commission salesperson sells an annuity and that person later cancels that contract, the insurance company gets the money back from the provider. So it doesn't say that, but I'm assuming that's what happened in this case because this attorney owed a debt to the annuity provider. So he deliberately chose an annuity that had a commission that he would not forfeit if the client died during the chargeback period. So you have, let's say, 7% commission on annuity. The salesman gets paid that up front, and then the insurance company obviously recoups that fee as the client pays the premiums over the next several years. And if the client leaves, a lot of times they have a surrender charge that helps the annuity provider recoup that fee that they paid to the salesperson, or sometimes they have a clawback or chargeback period where they take the money back from the salesperson. Anyway, as it happened, the client died before she could. The client died immediately after this happened. So anyway, this attorney was disbarred for not disclosing that he was going to receive a commission. And so the bottom line, what I wanted to cover this for was that, number one, should this attorney really be selling annuities? I don't know. That, to me, that's really not a great fit. Maybe if he was an estate planning attorney, there's some limited uses for annuities. But anyway, it seemed a little bit odd to me. The second thing was, if you're paying if you're getting a financial product, make sure you understand how you're paying for that. Most of the time, the client is not actually writing a check and paying for it. It's typically disclosed someplace what fees and expenses they're paying, but because the client doesn't have to write a check. And I've talked about this before. Education, most people going to college aren't writing a check for it. They're getting a loan, or they're getting a grant, or some kind of free money that they're paying for, and therefore the cost of college tuition has risen significantly. Healthcare, most people that go to the doctor aren't actually writing a check for that service. So the payer is disconnected from the service. Same thing happens in the financial industry. Once again, we're a fee-only firm. We don't sell products, but for those firms that do 99% of financial product, exchange-traded funds. We use exchange-traded funds. They have a small annual fee. But once again, the client is not actually writing a check for it. Now, certain ETFs have very low cost, the one we use like Vanguard, the Schwab ETFs. But other ones, for example, you can buy a Vanguard emerging markets ETF for about 20 basis points or so. The iShares emerging market ETF is about 40 to 50 basis points. Much, much higher. Once again, it's because the client is not actually writing a check. Most fee-only advisors, you're going to pay monthly or quarterly or upfront fee or something where you write a check or it's taken out of your investment account. Something like a mutual fund or annuity, something like that, a lot of times the fees and things like that are buried, and so it's much harder to figure out what you're paying and you're not actually writing a check. And that's what allows the price of mutual funds and annuities and things like that to creep up, is because the person purchasing it is not actually writing a check. Whenever you have a disconnect between the person receiving the good or service and how it is paid, you're going to see the price vary and rise away from fair value. As I mentioned, the same thing happens in education, happens in healthcare, happens in the financial industry. You walk into your local broker's office, 99% of them, we had this the other day, a lady said, well, I just want a financial plan. I said, fine, it's going to be somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. And she couldn't believe it. She said, well, I went to XYZ broker, and he was going to do a financial plan for free. And we said, really? And as it went on in the discussion, we found out, well, actually, he was going to sell her some mutual funds and annuities to implement that plan. So whenever something is free, especially in the financial industry, you need to be real skeptical and figure out how you're paying for it, because make no mistake, you are paying for that thing. You just need to make sure you understand how. We're coming up on our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about the $14 billion in wasted unemployment benefits. For All Things Money, I'm David Blain.